Hey guys, so I'm pumped about today's video because I want to show you how you can use the Facebook Analytics tool to figure things out, in particular to audience sizes that you can't get from the Facebook Custom Audiences tool, because it's one of the things that really bugged the hell out of me. And now that I've discovered Facebook Analytics, I've found that very few people talk about this tool, and it's very handy to figure out how many people are in fairly small audiences, such as add to cart audiences. Now, as usual, if you find this content really useful, go ahead, hit the like button and click the subscribe button so that you get notifications for any future content that I produce. And without any further ado, let's get into it. This is something that I've run across a lot, especially with working with smaller client accounts with smaller spend and smaller amounts of data on their pixel, and it's particularly with regards to audience sizes. So sometimes if you create a custom audience for, say, add to cart events, or even view content events, but especially for add to cart, you'll often, once you've added the custom audience, I won't show you how to add in custom audiences. I'm going to assume that you know how to do that. You'll see that the audience size is below 1,000, but it would be really nice to know actually how many people are in that audience. So, you know, how many people have added to cart in the last 30 days. So if we just have a look at the specifics of this particular audience, what I'm wanting to know is how many people have added to cart in the last 30 days, but how many have excluding those who have initiated checkout. So I'm just after those in that part of the funnel. So you can actually find out this information using the analytics tool in Facebook, and you can do a whole bunch of other stuff in the analytics tool, which I'm going to do in future videos. But for today, I'm just going to show you how we can actually figure out how many people are actually in that audience. So to get to analytics, just click on the 9 dots, and you need to scroll down a bit, and then you go to analytics, and then you need to obviously pull up your particular client account that you're working on. So I've chosen the pixel here that I want to have a look at. Now, if you want to change the pixel, you just go up to the top left and you can change the pixel. So I'm just looking at my client's pixel here. So by default, you've got last 28 days and it shows you 100% of everybody there. So you can see this particular client has not very much in terms of visitors per month. So the audiences are quite small. So what you do is you go to add filter, and you can see I've already got some filters already created here. I'm going to show you how to create a new one from scratch. So we want to just look at add to cart events. And then also what I want to do is I want to include those who did not perform an event. And that event would be, in my case, I'm just looking for purchases. So I'm just interested in those who've added to cart but not purchased. All right. So once that's done, that will actually refresh and ta-da. So I know that for the last 28 days, I've got 371 people, unique users, who have added to cart but not made a purchase. Now, if I want to stretch out that time frame a bit to say 90 days, I can do that. And in terms of the custom audiences that you can actually use, you can actually make that right up to 180 days. So let's just go custom, and then we just go back to, where are we? So say the 16th is the start date, and then we're going to say 15th is the end date. So that's 6 months worth of data. Now I can see I've got about 1,000 users who've added to cart but not made a purchase. So now the other cool thing that you can do is that you can take any of these filters that you create here and you can save them. So if you just click on the purple bit and you go save filter, you can just give it a name. So you can say add to cart but no purchase. And it doesn't save the date range with it. So the date range is always variable to the filter. And the other thing you can do is you can create a custom audience from it. So as you can see here, I'm going to call this purchase. And when you're saving the custom audience, this is where it does apply the date range. So let's go say 30 days, which is very similar to one that you could create within the custom audience tool. Actually, it's 28. And it uses the filter. So sometimes you can't use the filter that you've just created because you've included variables that are not supported in the audience tool, but most of the time you can. And then you just simply click on create custom audience, and then that actually creates, so if I just go over to open a new tab here for audiences, and so here I am back on my client account. I'll just give you an example of one audience that I've created via the analytics tool, and see when you edit it, it just says it's created through an API. So that's how you can create any kind of audience, you can see immediately what the size of the audience is. So I'll just switch this back to 28 days again, which is really useful. So generally speaking, if you're going to create a custom audience, you want to make sure there's at least 100 people in it. I mean, that's not really ideal. Ideally, over 500, over 1,000 is getting way better, but at least you can see how many are in the audience if it's below 1,000, because you can't see how many there are within the audiences tool. So hopefully you found that useful. If you've got any questions or comments, just drop them in the comments below. I'll be creating new content more regularly from this point onwards. So if you've got anything you want me to have a look at, just also drop a comment below. And thanks for watching.